If you are a designer in the 3D printing community, you know that building said community can be a little bit tough. By needing to utilize sites like Patreon, you take people away from where they're expecting. Well, Printables and Thangs released their own versions of it just this past week. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here and you like this kind of thing, make sure to leave a like and get subscribed. It doesn't cost you a thing, it helps the channel grow. We're going to be talking all about the new membership platforms offered by Printables and Thangs, because if you are a 3D modeler in this space and you are looking to build a community, it has been really difficult. Dealing with those files is really challenging. People that cancel might still have access, people that join might not get the access they joined for, and Patreon, which is the most popular system right now, doesn't exactly have a great system for file management, and instead forces you to use systems like Dropbox, Google Drive, and the like. Creators that we follow, ones like Photos Mint, Wexter, Clockspring, and more, all have to use a different platform for giving out those models. Models that we are paying for support to get access to. Well, the model repositories are finally taking note to this, and I guess this has been in the works for a while for Printables. I'm not too sure about Thangs, but more on that coming soon. And what we can see here is that while Printables has been growing heavily, they have doubled their amount of viewers since last year. And it is the second most visited 3D model database, which is kind of cool, with Thingiverse still being #1. And now that it is back under control of Ultimaker, or I guess now under control of Ultimaker, it is getting better, but I still really love me Printables. And Thangs is doing the same thing. Thangs, however, when you do a search, actually goes through all of the repositories, including Printables, including Thingiverse, including Cults 3D, and others. I think this is a good push for 3D model creators to have other options, because those options, one, enable platforms to have some base of competition, but two, to also allow creators to create in the space that they are most comfortable. If you like Thangs, maybe you're Chaos Cortec and love Thangs, then you're going to be utilizing the membership from Thangs. Well, if you're somebody like Photos Mint, who has dropped basically his entire catalog on Printables, you might choose to utilize Printables for something like this. And hey, if you're platform agnostic, give them options to support you wherever. Because remember, giving people more options to support is a good way to get that potential support. That's why we at 3D Musketeers offer YouTube channel members, Patreon, and PayPal, because at that point, if you don't have at least one of those three, I don't know, man, those are the ones that we were easily able to set up. If there's a different platform that you would prefer, let me know in those comments down below, and I'll do what I can. What is crazy to me is that Printables is getting 2 million unique visitors per month and 10.3 million monthly visits, and over 750 models uploaded to Printables every day. I don't want to get into how expensive those servers must be, but they are really expensive. Storing models like that is a big deal. And the big thing for me that Printables is doing that I really, really like is that they are segmenting paid and free. When you're going through Printables, you're not going to end up clicking on a model that is not going to be free. In fact, to find those paid models, you must go to that creator's profile and see if they have a membership available, where then you will be able to see a short description as well as a thumbnail photo for the model itself. You, of course, will not be able to download it unless you do provide that support, which I think is a great way to allow people to just preview something to decide, is this a creator that I would like to support? Because you can't support everybody, and you also don't want to support nobody. Kind of just want to support those that you like and the work that you like and the models that you want to make. I support that. I support you supporting the people that you support. You feel me? And I like that Printables has done this. We often use Yegi or Yeji. I don't know. We'll link to it in the description. It is a database that searches most of the repositories out there. But the big thing is that especially on Cults 3D, you don't know if the model is free or paid until you go to it. And the free and paid options are all on the same page, which is really upsetting. And similar to how a lot of creators tend to structure it, it is a monthly donation system through Printables. After presenting it to several creators in September and getting that valuable feedback, they've now figured out what their base functionality wants to be, and they can build on it from there. And I like that Printables just says, well, why not just use Patreon? And as we talked about earlier, there is no file management system, and you have to bring people to that website. You don't go to Patreon to just look for people. I mean, you might, but I never have. I find their work, whether it's on Twitter or YouTube or Facebook or one of the other random internet cesspools, and I say, I like your work. Let me go to your profile. Then I have to search for where I can support you. Then I find your Patreon. Then I can support you for a couple of bucks a month. If it's all just on Printables, it's 1 or 2 extra clicks and I've supported. And by the way, they are taking ideas for the name. Printables doesn't yet have a name for what this new membership will be called, and they're offering 10,000 Prusa meters to the first person to say it or post it and the one that they end up using. That's kind of cool, because that is a Prusa mini worth of Prusa meters. I would love another mini. Minis are great. So inside of Printables, it looks like what you see here. Club membership style. Creators will have the ability to add up to 5 different tiers that gives you different levels of access, where you can show exactly what it is. People can go through and choose the one that best suits them. With these up to 5 customizable tiers, that is the right amount. What we found, at least on our Patreon, is that we have way too many. And in fact, I'm going to be removing some and just replacing them with larger amounts should people want to donate a larger amount to the work that we do. 5 pretty much handles it, right? You have your basic support, you have your monthly models, maybe you have some specific models, like Wexter has one just for his mini dudes, and then you have one for your commercial license where people are able to then sell it and make money off of it. And then, hey, the 5th one is the I just love you, take all my money tier, because why not? And I like that the designer can still choose to release all their models for free and just have a way for people to support them. That all it is just, hey, I'm going to give you a couple of bucks a month, support the work that you do because I like your stuff and I think it's great. I love that ability. And designers will be able to choose to automatically release supporter-only models for free to everyone after a specified amount of time. This is a very common thing that designers like Photos Mint do, where after a specified amount of time, the model that is only available on Patreon now becomes open to the general public. And I like that because effectively you're just kind of paying for early access, but if you're not financially able to, or you don't want to, you can wait till it becomes available to everybody. But a lot of these models tend to be incredibly topical. And if you want to stay in that trend, it is always good to get them when you can. For people like Photos, people like Wexter, 3D Dom Sculpts, Randomize Z3D, Chaos Core Tech, gosh, all the people that we support on our Patreon. It's great to see them now have options to put their models elsewhere and be able to release them publicly if they do so choose to do. And this is cool. If you like a particular model, you can pin it to your profile. Then anybody that visits your profile will see that model. If it is locked behind that paywall, when they click on that model, it's gonna tell them. There isn't this surprise of, oh, hey, by the way, if you want to download it, it's like $3. Good luck. No, it's very upfront with the fact that it's behind a paywall. And I think that is incredibly valuable for someone who doesn't like that kind of a surprise. And now with the community feed getting this update, you'll be able to just see updates from people that you're subscribed to, those that you follow, and more. And because this is Printables and this is a dedicated portion of the business of Prusa research, I'm guessing we're going to see a lot of updates on this relatively quick, as creators that join their platform are able to give that feedback live as it's happening. I love that Prusa does this, where these kind of transparency reports, while not immediately necessary at all, very much validate the work that they're putting into it and help me, one, as a content creator, come up with more things to talk about, 2, better understand how this system works, because we haven't really gotten to the point that everybody's going to be asking about. Platform fees. Platform fees are kind of the big one. And when we look at platforms, you really do want to find one that isn't going to take too much. On Printables, they are looking at about 10% of a cut on top of the credit card processing fees. Thangs is doing 8%. And in fact, Thangs has actually gone as far as to break it down for everybody. So this is what the membership system looks like on Thangs. I love they have this native IP protection, which they're using crawlers to basically figure out where the model came from. So if you uploaded somebody else's model, they should know about it. And in fact, their director of marketing is a good friend of mine. We actually scanned him at the East Coast Rep Festival. We're going to talk a little bit about the Thangs platform and what it's really doing to change the scope of 3D modeling platforms. Because I'm not exactly an expert on this kind of thing, and I certainly don't know anything about how Thangs really makes the magic work inside of their system, and certainly I'm kind of limited on my knowledge of Thangs memberships, I brought a good buddy of mine in, John, who really kind of runs a lot of the marketing over at Thangs. So John, can you tell the folks at home who you are so they get to know you a little bit?
I'm John, head of marketing here at Thangs. We're a small, lean team. So if you talk to somebody in socials, you DM one of us, you're talking to myself or Brandon most of the time. So it's probably nice to get a little, recognition, name to face here. So
for sure.
That's fine. So Thangs memberships officially launched. I think it's fair to say from the very beginning, we've tried to say we are here to support creators. And we were always building these tools in the back end, which at moments people are like, I don't get it. And then as it builds out and expands over time, you can see the workspace and see the comparison tools and some collaboration features, and then some syncing features that are free storage, and trying to increase productivity and reduce the time spent in these areas that take too much time. And designers don't want to spend their time with these tedious things. They want to design. And so we're trying to provide the tools for them to spend more time doing what they love. And now with this platform, we give them the opportunity to monetize their passion. From the very top of it, it's dedicated to 3D. It's supporting creators specifically in 3D, because there are other platforms out there that support creators and really great ways. And they do a great job at it. But there's nothing out there that's really supported creators specializing in 3D. And that's what we're here to do.
I see that my buddy Zach Friedman is on there, who we met at Rocky Mountain Rep Rap. Chelsea from Chaos Core Tech is in there as well. Is there a prerequisite required to join this membership platform for those that are creators in the 3D digital space?
No, actually there's not. We launched with these partners because we've had, experience with them. We've worked with them over the past. They've shared lots of feedback. A lot of reasons why we launched what we did is because of their feedback. So it's just one of those things like you're a trusted partner. You've given us a lot of feedback. Let's start with you, and you produce great work. There's a bit of understanding who they are and the type of content they produce and a verification process. So we understand these are great folks in the community and we want to support them further. So they supported us. Some of these people, I think Chelsea's been on board, and like Natalie, 3D Print Bunny. They've been early adopters of Thangs going back almost 2.5 years now. A lot of the evolution you see is based on some of their feedback. Some of your feedback, with our terms of service. So it's constantly evolving based on the feedback you guys are sharing with us. We want every creator on the platform. Everyone that deals with 3D, want them on the platform, want them using it. We want them to earn a fair wage. And this goes back to how we implemented this. So what's the most honest way for our platform to monetize is supporting creators. If creators can earn a fair wage here, then the site operates, it functions well. It's the sincerest way to operate this platform, in our opinion. It's currently available in 11 countries right now. We launched in 11 countries, which was more than Twitter with their memberships. And we'll add more on down the road, but we're gonna continue to onboard people before we open it up over the coming weeks. So
John, thank you very much for this chat. We're gonna get back to past Grant. He's going to keep going through it, but this has been great. Thank you for the clarifications on it. And guys, remember, Thangs linked in that description down below. So if you are looking to become a creator inside of Thangs memberships, go ahead and sign up. As John said, they're starting to onboard people, so get on that gravy train before it starts leaving the station. And remember that Thangs is owned by FISNA, and FISNA is effectively fully funding Thangs and the effort that it is doing. FISNA is a data company, however, they have assured us that they are not selling any personal data from the Thangs network. I like that, but we can see that the powerhouse of FISNA is really adding to the quality that we get out of Thangs. One of those things is the native IP protection. So if I was to download a bunch of models and then just upload them to Thangs, Thangs should be able to figure all of that out. They've got the automated member management, and that really means you have to deal with less BS. They're calling it toil. I'll call it BS because I don't like to sugarcoat things here, but marketing guys gotta market, you feel me? And with the organic discoverability and growth, Thangs puts a lot of time and effort into making sure that people can find models on their platform. And while the search function is not historically amazing and brings up a ton of results sometimes for things that you weren't looking for, I don't know if that is Thangs' fault or the fault of the people that are making the models, not better tagging them and using the correct metadata when you're uploading it. We can see Thangs is going through with a level of transparency that I like. They are taking 8% and not marking up a dime of the payment and payout fees, which they have really properly listed out here for you. They are using Stripe. I'm assuming it's Stripe Atlas. That is what a lot of platforms use. If you don't know what it is, don't worry about it. It's relatively insignificant to all this. But we can see that Stripe charges 2.9% plus 30 cents per transaction. The recurring payment is 0.5%. Then there's the payout fee, as well as the currency conversion fee for, you know, those that need currency converted. These are all things that the creator pays when they take the money. I'm glad that they are being transparent about it. These fees are pretty much what you expect out of Stripe. And I like that they're just saying, yeah, we're passing it through at cost. And while you might say grant 8% and about 10% is a lot of money to take away from creators. It is. But these platforms don't have any other source of income. Thangs have to find a way to pay back that venture capital. And for Printables, they would like to try to cover the cost of running Printables. It says right here, we would like to expand these options in the future. As far as fees goes, we will take a small cut, about 10%, to at least partially cover the fees of running Printables, from maintaining the servers to developer and moderator salaries. All of these costs are currently covered by our 3D printer sales. There are no ads, and we're committed to continue doing that, but it would be nice if Printables eventually become a full self-sustainable project. I totally agree with that. And while you might sit there and say, well, Prusa charges enough for their machines, we don't need to be paying any extra money for this, then don't. Nobody's forcing you to. You can still use Printables totally for free. It's totally free to still use it. You just have the option to support people that you want to support. Thangs is doing the same thing. You don't have to have a membership. You can choose not to. However, they've got some pretty cool stuff, and we can see one of my good buddies, Zach Friedman, he's one of those featured designers. Wow, with almost 500,000 model views and 135,000 downloads. That's spicy. That's spicy. And we can look at becoming a member. And Zach basically has the exact same thing that he has for his Patreon page. $10 a month, $25 a month, or $100 a month, and it's all extraction based, which, you know, kind of love it. Even further on Printables, we see that if you are a member, when you make comments or anything like that on posts, you will be designated with a membership tier so that people can see that you're a supporter. And I think that's a great feature. We see this on YouTube channel memberships where people have a green name versus the regular color, as well as having options for different emojis and that kind of thing. You can try it if you'd like. Just saying it's an option. And that's great because it enables people that want to support the ability to actually show their support. You don't have to hide it, right? You can be proud of your support. And it appears that both platforms are currently in a quasi-closed beta, where it does appear that Thangs is public. Prusa is still in a closed beta. And I love that Prusa is currently looking for future feedback to look at how they can improve the platform moving forward. I think this is moving in the right direction for this industry. If you are a 3D modeler, I'm sure you've dealt with the pains of Patreon. There's been some contention regarding the level of money that these platforms are taking, and me as a business, I don't see anything wrong with it. I think as long as they're under 15%, there's really no reason to be upset. Patreon takes 12, so like, there's not that big of a deal to me. And if you're under 10, that's great. The creators will still pay the payment processing fees, which will vary based on your location, and I think that's perfectly acceptable. While it's not a perfect solution, these companies are companies at the end of the day, and their goal is to make money. Just like if you like making money and want to make more money by selling your designs, you could potentially be on these platforms as well. So yeah, you can't bite the hand that feeds you. You gotta work at building a symbiotic relationship where Printables and Thangs are the remoras to you being the shark. Not a problem when you look at it from a broad spectrum. But I'd love to know your guys' opinion in those comments down below. I think this is a phenomenal move that gives creators an ability to just keep in the platforms that they use the most. And I'd love to know which ones that you would be using, because as far as I'm aware, Cults 3D allows it. They've allowed it for a while. We now have Thangs, and coming soon for Printables. I'm excited for all these options, and I hope that other platforms follow. I believe that this is what it is about. That's all I got for you all today. Stay safe out there. Don't forget to call your loved ones. And as always, keep making awesome. Have a good one. Ears always itch her, so give her the good ear rubs. Oh, she loves it so much. And then she shakes her head, and I have to protect myself. Oh, you love that, don't you? She does. Promise. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video, and a massive thank you goes out to all of our Patreon, YouTube channel member, and PayPal supporters, whose names are listed right next to me at the $5 tier and higher. Remember, if you want to join and support us, that way you can, although we might be making ones on these platforms. I honestly don't know if we can. We probably can't, because we don't really ever release a lot of 3D models. Anyways, right below me will be our look at Thingiverse alternatives, where we talked about both of these platforms, and both of them have gotten better since, and I'm really, really excited to see how they continue to grow in the future. And right next to that will be our look at the Revo High Flow, E3D's newest nozzles in the Revo platform. And I will see you all down in those comments, and in the next one. Take care.